Cook is still employed by the Fed. Here's what we do know for sure right now. The U.S. Office of Government Ethics shows a financial disclosure form signed by Cook in 2024 that lists 3 mortgages acquired in 2021. 1 for an investment property and 2 others for what she cited as, quote, personal residences. IRS rules for tax purposes prohibit people from claiming 2, quote, primary residences. Cook, in at least 2 separate statements, has denied any wrongdoing, though she didn't offer a detailed explanation as to why her form referenced 2 personal residences. Elliot Stein worked for years as a white-collar criminal attorney and is now a senior litigation analyst for Bloomberg Intelligence. He says that the mere allegations are likely insufficient to meet the 4-cause standard for ousting a Fed governor, though on their face, the claims against Cook look more damaging than the cost overrun ones made against Fed Chair Jay Powell. Elliot Stein joins us right now to talk a little bit more about that. And Elliot, I do want to talk not so much about the veracity of the claims against Lisa Cook, but more about the veracity of whether there is indeed cause for the president to remove her.
Yeah, and that's the main legal issue here, because the Federal Reserve Act says that the president can remove a Federal Reserve Board governor for cause, but the statute doesn't define or specify what cause means. So we have to look to some other statutes for other agencies that say cause generally means some sort of inefficiency, neglect, or malfeasance. The question here is whether the allegations against Fed Governor Lisa Cook rise to that level. And my feeling is that until you have some sort of investigation by, let's say, the Fed Inspector General or some sort of investigation by the Justice Department that results in charges, it's probably a little premature to say that the allegations alone satisfy the 4-cause standard.
We should mention that the Federal Reserve, according to a statement issued by the central bank, said it will abide by any court decision, as this will likely be resolved legally. And that's kind of where I want to go to next, Elliot, because Lisa Cook's lawyer has made clear that they will file a lawsuit challenging this firing. Tell us a little bit about Abbe Lowell, because he's a high-profile white-collar defense and trial lawyer known as a top scandal specialist. And I bring this up because he has a long history of working both with Democrats and Republicans. He represented both children of Donald Trump and Joe Biden, Ivanka and Jared, and defended Hunter in his gun charges trial. So is that proximity with all the principals, Elliot, going to be a good thing or a bad thing? Will it work for him or against him? And will it work for Lisa Cook or against Lisa Cook?
Well, I think courts will look at the merits of the argument. They won't necessarily look at Abbe Lowell's bipartisan history of representation, although he is a highly respected lawyer, as you've pointed out with his credentials. So courts will take his arguments very seriously. But at the end of the day, they'll look at the actual arguments that he's making and whether those pass muster. It's not a surprise that Lisa Cook is expected to file a lawsuit. That's what we've been expecting since we saw the news last night that she's being fired. And like we said, the main arguments will be whether the president has satisfied the 4-cause standard. And then another key issue that is probably going to be the main battle early on is whether she continues to serve on the Federal Reserve Board while the litigation plays out.
And that is a big question mark going forward. Elliot, I do just want to return to those headlines that Scarlett was reading out, some additional headlines coming out of an official statement from the Federal Reserve saying that it reaffirms its commitment to transparency and that the removal protections serve, in their words, as a safeguard, saying that governors may only be removed for cause. And as this goes to the courts, assuming that is where we are going next, Elliot, I am curious just about the state of the Board of Governors overall during this process, whether Lisa Cook is there or still there during this litigation. Do you have any sort of confidence that they will be able to function in a way that is appropriate with their mandate?
Yeah, I think they'll be able to continue to function. She's only one person on the board. The board is comprised of 7 governors, although one of the seats is in flux because Aviana Kugler resigned earlier in August, and the nominee to fill her seat, Stephen Moran, has not been confirmed yet. But I think the bigger picture here is, from President Trump's perspective, this is likely a play to control the Federal Open Markets Committee, the FOMC, because that's really the body that controls interest rates, which President Trump wants lowered. And what's interesting is this coming February, the Federal Reserve Board will have the opportunity to confirm or to bar the reappointment of the regional Reserve Bank presidents who serve on the FOMC in addition to the Federal Reserve Board governors. And I think that's what President Trump is trying to control, because if he removes Lisa Cook, you sort of have a 3-3 deadlock balance on the Federal Reserve Board. And as a result, you may not see some of these Reserve Bank presidents reappointed.
Very good points. Elliot, really appreciate your joining us. Elliot Stein is Senior Litigation Analyst at Bloomberg Intelligence.